Is your baby or toddler throwing food? It can be really, really frustrating. And I have another video that I'll link in the description that goes through some of the common troubleshooting, and it's a tutorial on how you can stop it. If you've already watched that video, this is a follow-up video to that. Today I'm going to share 2 tips to help you with your food thrower. And my earlier video talks about what to do in the moment, in the situation. And this video is going to show you what you can do after the fact to help your child tie the consequence together with what actually happened. So the first thing is, once you have ended their meal and there's still food on the floor, which can happen if you're not quick enough to intercept the child before they throw something, which is they are very fast at throwing things. So it's actually a great teachable moment here. Put them down on the ground and ask. When I say ask, I don't mean, will you please pick up that food? I mean, now it's time to pick up the food. It's a directive. It's not a question. If you haven't already figured this out as a parent, you will soon, to never ask a question that you don't want the answer to. So for example, never say, do you want to clean up your toys? It's time to clean up your toys. So in the same respect, you're not asking them, please, to pick up their food. You're saying, now it's time to pick up the food. And that may mean that you have to bend down there with them, or you hold the plate for them to put the food on, so that they realize that the food cannot stay on the floor. It must be picked up, and that's a natural consequence. It's been dropped on the floor, needs to get picked up. And that can also help parents, because there was one client I had that would be on the floor picking up the food, and her son could tell that this was really frustrating to her. And one of the ways that you can decrease your frustration is by working as a team with your child and by picking up the food together, even though it's really not a fun activity. If you can make it a little bit more like, we're going to do this together, I'm here to help you, it just gets done much faster without there being this power struggle. Tip number 2 is, if you have a child that is throwing a tantrum when it's time to wash them up because you have followed through with, you threw your food, I've given you a verbal warning, and you threw your food again, that tells me you're all done, we're going to wash up. It's very natural for them to cry. You haven't done anything wrong by ending the meal. It can be very triggering when they cry in direct response to what we're doing, like picking them up to take them over and wash them up. That can be very triggering. The way you can get past that is, remember to say to yourself, I have set a boundary, and it's not an unreasonable boundary. And if your child is throwing the food, chances are they are doing it because they're not actually hungry. In any case, so let them have their feelings. Remember to be very gentle and kind. It's not a punishment, it's a consequence, a natural consequence. It's like if you're running late for the bus because you slept in, you're probably going to miss your bus, and that's a natural consequence. It's not like the bus driver's being rude and running off without you. You just missed the bus. So the same thing applies here. The way you can tie that experience in to move on is, after you've washed them up, if they're still upset, hold on to them. Don't put them down and send them off on their merry way. Hold them, give them a hug, ask them, hey, was that surprising that I washed you up? Was that upsetting that I washed you up? And let them tell you. They'll nod, or they'll in some way acknowledge. Even if they're a little baby, they can still understand you and process what's going on. You're showing them that you do understand why they're upset. It's a legitimate reason to be upset. They threw the food, they didn't, for whatever reason, realize that you were going to follow through and end their meal. They're just telling you they didn't like that. So process that with them, and then let them know. Turn this into a positive. Next time we have a meal, or let's say you just finished breakfast, when we come for lunch, you'll know to keep your food on the table, on the plate. Keep it on the table, and you'll be able to sit at the table with us. And let them acknowledge that too. So you're putting it all together. They're upset because they threw the food. They're upset because they had to get washed up. Now they are upset. You're telling them, you're walking them through why they're upset, which is a legitimate reason to be upset, and you're letting them know how they can avoid this next time. And all the while, you're not getting angry, you're not getting frustrated. This is a bonding moment for you, and a perfect way to connect all the dots for them. I really hope you found those 2 tips helpful. I'm going to link in the description my earlier food throwing video tutorial if you haven't seen it yet. And if you still have problems and questions, drop them below. I always read them, and I can make new videos based on what help you need. If you're having behavioral issues with your child at mealtimes, like tantrums or picky eating, I have an online course called Mealtimes Without Meltdowns that will help you out navigate through the difficult behaviors through here with tips and strategies just like what I gave you today. So I really hope you found that helpful. Share it with a mum friend, and I am Talia the dietitian. Thanks for being here. It's really important to get your information about feeding from somebody who knows what they're talking about. I am a dietitian and I'm here to help you.